morning and welcome to Eternity Speaks. I'm your host, Reverend Bill Eggleston. I hope everyone's had a great week and is doing well. I apologize for not making it home in time for the show last week. I was on call for the hospital and I had to go in, and the timing was just not the greatest. But I was able to fix what they had going on and get it back up and running again. But uh, enough about that. This week, I'd like to talk about getting back to basics. Um, now, the idea of getting back to basics can have many different meanings. It could simply mean simplifying your life by getting rid of clutter around your house, or changing your diet, or starting a garden and growing your own food, or even focusing more on your faith. Kind of turn the television off and getting your nose in the book, I guess you could say. Uh, Many times people think, when they think about faith, they think about church. Okay. Now they get hung up on all the little things like, am I wearing the right outfit, or did I remember my offering, or which committee should I join? Uh, However, faith does not begin nor end with the church. I know that sounds a little odd coming from a minister, but church is important, but it's not as important as we make it out to be. And I'll explain that. Uh, Church shouldn't be looked at as a governing body for your faith. Okay. It doesn't matter which church you go to, as long as the messages that you're receiving when you go resonate with your soul. After all, if you're not getting anything out of going, why are you going in the first place? Uh, if that's the case, if you're not getting everything that you need by going to a certain church, if that's the case, find another church. Um, listen to this show. I'm not saying replace your church with this show. I'm just saying use this to kind of help things along a bit. Keep that message going. Church isn't just on Sundays. As far as faith goes, belief systems. It's not just one day of the week and then you're done. It's a daily thing. Uh, and if you're worried more about how you look and how much money you're putting in the offering plate, or even if you're participating on the right committee, you're you're not in the right place. Uh, yes, operating a successful church does require a lot of work and a lot of volunteers, but just be sure that you're not losing sight of why you're attending in the first place. The concept of a church is simply to provide a place for like-minded people to worship together and support one another in their spiritual journey. That's kind of like what we're trying to do here. Uh, Even with I know it's basically a Facebook page right now. I do have a website, but I've admittedly I've been kind of slacking on that. I haven't. It's not up to date as much as it should be, but uh, things get busy. I'm doing what I can. I mean, look at last week. But just know that going to a church or the church that you go to doesn't define you or your faith in God. One's faith begins at home with your personal relationship with the Lord. Faith is it's like a solid marriage. It should begin with friendship. Your relationship with God is just that. Your relationship. That's between you and God. Your friends and neighbors and family and yes, even the church have very little to do with that relationship. You can talk to them about anything. You can tell them about your troubles, or ask for advice, or even ask for help through a difficult situation. He's always there for you when you need him. I know I keep saying that every week or so, but that's why he's there. He's there for you. He's there for everyone, and we should be there for each other. If you see someone struggling and you have the ability to help them, help them. That's what we're supposed to do. Uh, no matter how difficult or impossible you think your situation is, he's always there. It's never so bleak that you can't be helped. And there's always, no matter how bad you think things are, there's probably someone else out there that's got it a lot worse off than you do. Uh, that's just the reality of the world today. But it's up to us, like I was saying, to help each other. If you see someone struggling with something, help them with it. If you have a certain expertise in a field or whatever that they're having an issue with, offer advice. Don't take over the project and make it yours and belittle them about it because they don't know what's going on. Help them with it. Help them understand and help them learn so that they can help themselves in the future. That's how you help someone. You don't just give them a handout and solve the problem for them. You give them the the understanding and the knowledge to be able to help themselves in the future. You help them learn from what's going on, so that next time that it's not such a big struggle. But that's what you got to do. If we're not there for each other, then what are we doing? you know, uh, Help each other. Trust in God. When you have a difficult situation, ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help from friends and family or even the church. That's what the church is for. It's to help support each other. If you're having an issue and you're not sure what to do, then if you can't talk to a friend, talk to your minister, talk to your local minister. That's what they do. Or if you're having a hard time and you're not sure, send me a message, an email, just send a message, get on Facebook, respond to something, make a post, whatever you got to do. That's what we're here for. We'll always respond and do what we can to guide you through whatever. And that's really it. With that said, I'd like to turn the show over to Barry and our spirit guest, St. Augustine.
Good morning.
Morning.
Happy Sunday morning.
Happy Sunday.
Yes. Welcome back. I'm glad all your hospital equipment is working properly. And
yes, I was nervous for a little while. It took quite a bit to get that one going, but
so anyway, we've got St. Augustine this week, and I've been blessed to have him as a writing guide quite a few years now. And when I get jammed up, I'll just say, Augustine, can you give me a little help here? And the words always come. So he was one of the most prolific of the Christian writers, wrote over 200 books, and that was done without Word or computers. So he's a very, very interesting holy saint. So without any further babbling on my part, we're going to let him do the speaking.
Okay.
Bye. Good morning, everyone. As Barry just told you, I spent much of my time studying all of the Holy Gospels that were available to me. When I walked the earth, the Catholic Church totally controlled Christianity. Much of what we did was in Latin. The belief in God was totally directed by the sacraments of the church. I studied in detail all of the Gospels that were available to me. Now, keep in mind that the Bible only represents very few Gospels. There were hundreds of Gospels that were written following the death of Christ. Constantine played a great role in standardizing the foundations of Christianity. He and the religious leaders of the time began the process of selecting Gospels that were to become the Holy Bible. Many of the Gospels that he looked at were incomplete, but those incomplete Gospels, some of them contained some very good information. Keep in mind that when Jesus walked the earth, He didn't have a stenographer sitting there taking down his words. Many of the disciples that were with him and followers were uneducated and were not capable of writing down his words. Many of the words that were recorded were not recorded accurately. They were hearsay, they were stories. They were based on people's memories. If you ever want to test the accuracy, call up a friend and tell them a story. Then have that friend tell the story back and see how much it changes. Much time elapsed from when Christ was crucified and when the Gospels were tried, or certain Gospels were put into the Bible. Over 250 years had elapsed from the death of our Lord. Think about how those stories changed. That was a time longer than the United States even existed. The words are put into a Bible and then they're retranslated. Through the years, the Catholic Church, who controlled the Gospels, felt that many of the stories needed to be exaggerated so that people would remember them better. Maybe Christ fed 100 people. Well, let's make it 1,000 or so, and people will remember it better. The gist of what I'm trying to tell you this morning is that any of the holy writings have been changed from the words of the masters that spoke them. You've been blessed to have Barry bring you channelings of the Prophet Muhammad. His words were mostly recorded after his passing, and church leaders would put down what they thought he said. His simple teachings became quite complicated as well. All of the holy writings have been changed to reflect the thoughts and words of those that came after the prophets. Now, those Gospels all laid a wonderful foundation. If you follow the foundation of the Bible or the Quran or other holy writings, they will provide you with a foundation of faith. They will lead you to the organized religion that helped write those holy books. Now, when I walked the earth, I felt sure that every word of the Bible or the Gospels that were given to me were correct. I studied them, I analyzed them. I wrote hundreds of books about them. I based my writings on the information that was given to me. All of you base your faith on the writings that are given to you. It is only because individuals have frailties. They think that they need to exaggerate subjects. They think that they need to change the writings so that they can gain more power. All of this, of which I speak to you today, is a foundation. Now, when I came back to heaven, I realized that many of the things that I had thought were absolute were not. Many of the teachings that were complicated, I realized should not have been complicated. Everyone has the opportunity to hear the messages of Jesus, of Muhammad, in terms of modern times. Barry's been chosen to bring you these words. He's not doing this for any other reason but to bring the truth of teachings of God to as many people as possible. What you are hearing are very simple words of teachings. You are hearing that how you live your life should be a matter of common sense. How you live your life should reflect how you want to be treated. Why you would treat others in a manner other than which you prefer to be treated is very illogical. However, that illogical work is changing the world. People show hatred towards others. Countries hate others. Countries show anger towards others. They try to conquer them. They try to kill them. They do all sorts of things that God would never, ever approve of. Why do they do that? Sometimes they do it to rationalize religious teachings that appear in their books of faith. Churches and religion can be wonderful, wonderful things. They can lead you, they can teach you, and they can give you a path that will help you live a good life. But each individual needs to understand that only his personal actions are what will lead to his judgment upon his return to heaven. Each individual has got to make his choices. Each individual has got to decide how he wants to live his life and how he wants to treat others. There are many individuals in this world that have given up organized religions. That is not a good thing. Religions bring social interaction between people. They give you a chance to communicate. They give you a chance to learn. Social interaction is very, very important. However, there are many religions that do not reflect in any way the teachings of God. All of you need to understand that you do not have to follow an organized religion to return to heaven and be judged in a wonderful manner and know that you fulfilled your life plan. What it comes down to is personal choice. Personal choice will either make or break how you are treated when you return to heaven. Forgiveness is something that if you follow the common teachings that you're hearing from all the prophets today, it will make it that you do not even have to ask for forgiveness if you follow the golden rule. You hear the same message from all of us. No matter what Holy Spirit comes through, we speak of common sense, doing unto others as you want them to do to you, and living a life of faith and love. It's that simple. I'm sure many of you get tired of hearing it. The simplicity of the message of God is a miracle. It does not have to be complicated. It can be as simple as you want to make it. Think of the people that never heard of an organized religion. There are many primitive folks. God doesn't forget them just because they never heard the word Christianity. Primitive people have spirituality. They understand Mother Earth, the heavens, the stars, the things they see around them, the animals. They may have people in their organizations that understand the spirit world more than others, but they don't go to church on Sundays. They don't do many of the things that organized religions require, but they still go to heaven. They have fulfilled a life plan that they needed, even if it was a primitive life. Everyone that is born goes to heaven. It is how you live your life that determines your judgments, the realms to which you are delegated, and the life plans that will be required for you into the future. I wrote many, many complicated works and studies. As I look back, I could have consolidated my work and made it quite simple. But I studied what was available to me, just as you do as well. Go forth, live simple lives. Know that God is always with you in your heart. Know that he preaches love and coexistence. Know that he wants you to treat others as you would be treated. It's almost that simple. So thank you for putting up with me. I know I can be a bit long-winded. I know that I can be many things, but I also know the truth of God's message. So thank all of you for listening. Please tell others of his words. Please tell others of the translations and channelings that Barry does, the work of Bill, the work of many that are trying to bring you the words of God. So goodbye. Know that he has blessed all of you today, and know that he will continue to send his messengers into the future. Goodbye. Very good. Very interesting. Yeah, he's an incredible spirit. We speak quite often, and he was one of the first that came through for us to help lead us. So he's a real teacher.
Absolutely.
Okay, next week, Mary Magdalene is going to come back and speak for us.
Okay.
She's always interesting. Tell your friends, tell your buddies, even tell your enemies.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Okay. Well, there you have it. A great message from St. Augustine. Really looking forward to speaking with Mary Magdalene again next week. Yeah. It's kind of funny because that everything that St. Augustine was talking about, that's where I've always had, I don't want to say an issue necessarily with the church, but it was the way such a simple message was complicated so much. That's what originally kind of drove me away from organized religion a bit. Uh, I've always had like my thoughts on how I thought things were, and then I started discovering in doing this show and everything that uh, things are a lot more like I thought they were than I realized they were. Uh, yeah, it's not as complicated as uh, as things are made out to be. Um, basically, I know we say it over and over and over again, but do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. It's such a simple concept and a simple message. Um, it's basically uh, treat others as you'd have them treat you, and live a good life, and don't be miserable to one another. Uh, that's the basis of it. Uh, it's all about love. We're all in the same boat here, and we should be getting along and trying to help each other the best we can. Uh, Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to say. I'm kind of at a loss for words after that. Uh, St. Augustine said pretty much everything that I was going to say. Uh, so make sure and check out the YouTube channels. Check out the Facebook page. Uh, if you have questions or comments or anything, comment on the page. Don't hesitate to reach out or send a message. Or if you have any prayer requests or anything, we can get those on there. I've been doing that a lot lately on the Eternity Speaks page. Some of you may have noticed I actually changed the name of the page uh, from the channeled word to Eternity Speaks, because that's kind of what everybody knows this as. So that was where that decision came from. But yeah, so like we always say, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Tell everybody that you know or that you can think of about this show, and tell us what you think about it. And that said, God bless.